Welcome back, everybody, to the Deep Dive. And today, we're going super granular. We're going deep on something you might not think deserves a deep dive.
Right.
The humble plastic flower pot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know those super cheap ones you can get like a zillion of for a couple bucks?
Not very glamorous, are they?
You know, not at first glance, but our source material today is this blog post called Notes on Gardening, part 447,
Mm-hmm.
12 small plastic pots for MYR1.
Wow. Okay.
And it's got me thinking, what can we learn from this super specific corner of the internet?
Yeah, 1 Malaysian ringgit for 12 pots. That's
Yeah.
incredibly cheap, like less than a quarter US.
Yeah, it's like 80-something cents a pot. Where did you even dig up this gem? So it's from this blog, kianmeng.org, by a guy named Ang, who describes himself as, get this, an old software plumber,
Oh, wow.
which I just love. This tech-savvy dude is out here hunting for flower pot deals.
It's like, what does he know that we don't?
I know. Right. So in the post, Ang talks about finding these 12 pots for 1 ringgit, which again, that's like 83 cents a pot. And he says it's the cheapest he's ever found, like regardless of material.
Okay, but like there has to be a catch, right?
Well, yeah.
They can't be high quality.
He says they're definitely thinner than the usual plastic pots, which, makes sense at that price.
Yeah.
But he says that they're made from PP5 plastic, and he still thinks that they're totally usable for seedlings or small plants.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, PP5 plastic is also called polypropylene,
Yeah.
and it's pretty tough stuff.
Yeah, it's resistant to heat and chemicals and moisture, so
It's impressive.
even if the pots themselves are kind of flimsy, they could still do the job for those early stages of plant growth.
Yeah, for sure. And Ang gives this really smart tip.
Hmm.
Keep them out of direct sunlight to make them last longer.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Have you ever noticed how plastics in general just get all brittle and faded after sitting out in the sun for a while?
Oh, absolutely. I think we've all seen that, like a lawn chair or something left out all summer,
Exactly.
and it's just falls apart.
Why does that happen?
Well, sunlight, specifically that UV radiation in sunlight,
Oh, okay.
breaks down the chemical bonds in the plastic. It deteriorates it over time.
Oh, wow.
And it makes you think about the environmental impact of all the plastic we use, especially the cheap stuff that might not have UV stabilizers in it.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Like almost a hidden cost, right? You get the benefit of cheap plastic, but at the cost of, well, the planet.
Yeah. If it breaks down that fast, it ends up in a landfill that much sooner.
Exactly. Makes you wonder if there are any better alternatives out there, but I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Ang in his project. So he's planning to use these super cheap pots for seed germination.
Oh, okay.
But here's the thing. Only after he finishes some painting he's working on.
Wait, hold on. So he's like a painter too?
I know, right. This guy. So we've got this tech-savvy plant enthusiast who's also an artist.
This is amazing. I love this guy.
I know. It just goes to show that even something as simple as starting a garden can involve a lot of moving parts, right?
Yeah.
You got to think about timing, space, materials, and even your own personal projects, all at the same time.
That's a good point.
What about you? Have you ever found yourself tackling a project where you're trying to juggle a bunch of different things like that?
Oh, yeah. For sure. I think we've all had those times where it feels like we have a million tabs open in our brain and we're just trying to keep track of it all.
Right. It's the project manager in all of us.
Totally.
And, speaking of juggling different elements, I think that applies to gardening in general, too.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, it's easy to get caught up in this romanticized vision of gardening.
Like a peaceful little English cottage garden.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there-
Just someone peacefully tending their plants. But what we don't always think about is all the work that goes on behind the scenes.
Right. All the planning and the prep work and the stuff that nobody really sees.
Yeah, exactly. Sourcing materials, finding the right soil, figuring out the right spot with the right amount of sun. It's a whole ecosystem to manage.
Yeah, it really is. Just like Ang is doing with his pots and his painting.
It just shows you how even a simple hobby like gardening can actually be quite complex.
For sure.
Even something as basic as choosing a flower pot has all these factors to consider.
Like what?
Well, you've got cost, durability, even aesthetics.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, how does it look in your space?
And sometimes, like with Ang's situation, that cheapest option can actually work really well.
If you know how to use it.
Yeah, exactly. If you're aware of its limitations and you can work around them.
It's all about being resourcul, right? Like
Yeah.
Ang's trick with keeping the pots out of direct sunlight.
Totally.
Yeah.
Little hacks like that can make a big difference.
It's true. But I keep coming back to this intersection of Ang's background in tech and his love for gardening.
It is interesting.
I wonder if those two worlds inform each other in some way? What do you think?
It's a fascinating question. We
Yeah.
tend to put people in these neat little boxes,
They're like stereotypes.
Yeah, like tech person, gardener, artist. But the reality is people are so much more multifaceted than that.
Oh, I love that. This idea of like a tapestry of experiences.
Yeah,
And Aang's blog post is like a tiny little window into that tapestry.
I like that.
It's showing us that even something as ordinary as buying some cheap plastic pots can actually spark all these insights and connections.
And it reminds us to stay open to those unexpected connections no matter where we find them.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe this deep dive will inspire somebody out there to finally try gardening or just to see their own hobbies in a new light.
Or at least give a second thought to those 83-cent flower pots.
Right. So let's do a quick recap of what we've learned from Aang and his little gardening adventure. First off, even the most basic gardening supplies can be more complex than you might think.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about the balance between cost and quality and longevity.
Right. And how sometimes the cheapest option can actually be the best one.
Well, if you're smart about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like Aang being strategic and keeping those pots out of the sun to make them last longer.
Right. It's about making informed choices and being creative.
Resourceful. But beyond just the practical tips, there's also that bigger message about interconnectedness, how things that seem completely separate can actually influence each other.
And all the hidden stories behind everyday objects.
Which brings me to my final thought for everyone today.
Okay, let's hear it.
Take a look around you, like right now.
Okay.
What everyday objects do you see that might have a hidden story or some kind of untapped potential?
Like anything specific.
I don't know, could be anything. That chipped coffee mug in your cupboard, those old gardening tools in the shed. What stories do those objects tell?
It's true. Objects are more than just things. They hold memories and they reflect our choices. And who knows, maybe they even spark new ideas and creative projects.
Ooh, I like that. Maybe Aang's next blog post will be all about upcycling old computer parts into garden art.
Oh, man, I would love to read that.
Me too. Anyway, thanks for joining us today for this deep dive into the surprisingly fascinating world of cheap plastic flower pots.
Yeah, this was fun.
Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and who knows what you might discover, even in those really ordinary parts of your world.
And remember, Aang's pro tip, keep those flower pots in the shade.
Until next time, happy gardening, everybody. You know, it's amazing to me how, like, one tiny little plastic pot can spark such a big conversation.
Yeah, for real.
We've gone from bargain hunting to talking about the planet to, like, what the meaning of objects. It's kind of crazy.
I feel like the butterfly effect of deep dives.
Exactly. But speaking of connections, I keep thinking about how Aang's into both tech and gardening, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely unique.
Do you think those two things have more in common than we might think at first?
I actually think they do. Like, both of them need you to be a good problem solver.
That's true.
And you got to be willing to experiment, like not be afraid to try things and maybe fail a few times.
Totally. Like whether you're trying to fix some code that's not working or like figure out why your plants are wilting, it's kind of the same energy.
Yeah, it's all about figuring things out, like being a detective almost.
Yeah, and in both cases, you're dealing with these complex systems, right?
Oh,
In tech, it's all the code and the hardware, and in gardening, it's the soil and the weather and all the little bugs and stuff.
and all the relationships between those things.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
not just one thing. It's a whole web of stuff all connected.
Yeah. Just like a programmer has to understand how all the different parts of the code fit together, a gardener needs to know, how the plants and the pests and the environment all like work together.
And how to use that to like make the right decisions.
Exactly.
So it's all about learning as you go and being willing to like change your approach if things aren't working.
Oh, for sure.
So maybe Aang's whole thing with finding the cheapest pots and figuring out how to make them work is something we can all learn from.
Yeah. Like being resourceful, not giving up when something seems limited.
Yeah, and finding creative solutions, even when you're working with like the bare minimum.
Exactly, because sometimes those constraints can actually lead to some really cool results.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of cheap plastic flower pots, I want to leave everyone with one final thought.
Okay, get me.
What seemingly ordinary thing in your life right now could actually be the start of something bigger?
I like that.
Could be an old tool, a gadget you never use, or, maybe even just a flower pot waiting to be filled.
It's all about looking at things with fresh eyes and seeing the potential.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep those flower pots out of the sun.